Tasle Nabelhenge Kunkam Sang Tanga Thu Ringbu Nanglola Tado Netewa Nange Mambu ki Nge ki Trezo Le Rib ki Ngoto di Puke na Lab to Rest Levido. The Yumbi ne Kite Nge Puke na Lovina Nge te Lerim de Gotswegi Miu de Kura Dicha Digito Ngaranzu Shunge Inge Puke Mahinge Dinalone Lava the Chike Shunge Puke Zawane Mahinge Kuranzu Chedo ngaranzu trezo lerim de khari yimbata ngaranzu mangzo gi perim le thande chala khadi chagu yo di ko la ngodu mi che nge gozu wa cha de hire chesa numbers ke de phege khenge yo bi na thegar trezo sibe thone chasang chi to thu re samgi do chesa di numbers ola gong se shu ba da tha ani nge trezo lerim da de thone ngodu di inge thone gozu gi yin shue yi let's say welcome back to my daily trezo briefing. For now, without wasting any more time, let us begin the last briefing of the 17th Tibetan Parliament in Exile's 8th session. So chaired by Honorable Speaker Khenpo Stamp Tempela, the 8th and the final day of the 17th Tibetan Parliament in Exile's 8th session convened at 9:30 with the introduction of 2 official resolutions by Kasha and Trezo each. So the resolution by the executive body commending and expressing gratitude to the sponsors and the supporters of the US Resolve Tibet Act, which saw a successful passage through both the houses and towards the office of the US President. So this motion was passed unanimously. Moreover, the Parliamentary Standing Committee introduced a resolution on the motion of gratitude for the former Australian Senator Janet Rice for her years of continuous support for Tibet movement through various hurdles. So this resolution was also approved and passed unanimously. So thank you so much to everyone involved with both the cases. And then as per the list of business, the session then proceeded to the election of the heads and members of the autonomous bodies, namely the Tibetan Election Commission and the Public Service Commission. So former parliamentarian Lobsang Yishilao was elected as the Chief Election Commissioner of the Tibetan Election Commission, receiving 29 votes against Thalungel, who gained 12 votes. Whereas Apatisui Director Gen Tsudum Dojala was elected as a member of the Public Service Commission with 24 votes, while Kusho Tute Yambela received 18 votes. So the session then proceeded on to the legislative procedures, first and second reading for different articles of the Charter and the rules and regulations. The legislative procedures, first and second reading of the amendment to Article 63, Clause 4 on the criteria of the Chief Tibetan Justice Commissioner of the Tibetan Supreme Justice Commission of the Charter of the Tibetans in Exile, introduced by the Parliamentary Standing Committee. So during the deliberation of the Article 63, Clause 4, several suggestions were tabled to consider both the Clause 2 and Clause 4 of the Article 63 proposed by Kasha and the Standing Committee, each as one to enable the passage. So this was accepted by Honourable Speaker as per the rules and regulations of the parliamentary procedure and conduct of the business of the Tibetan Parliament in Exile. The proposed amendments to Article 63, Clause 2 and Clause 4 of the Charter of the Tibetan in Exile were passed with a strong majority. However, the proposed amendment to Article 37, Clause 1 was repealed after failing to secure the required 2/3 majority of the total strength of the House. Furthermore, the amendment to the rules and regulations regarding the salaries, honorarium, and allowances for the CTA dignitaries was passed unanimously. Similarly, the proposed amendment by Kasha concerning the salaries, perquisites, pensions, and other entitlements of the Chief Justice Commissioner and the other 2 Justice Commissioner of the Tibetan Supreme Justice Commission were also unanimously approved. Uh, and then the session directed towards introduction of the 7-point official resolution on the solidarity with the Tibetans inside Tibet by the Standing Committee, which began in 2008 as customary till date. That's Dungsam Nyamgege Treasure. So during the deliberation, about 15 parliamentarians highlighted the urgency of the human rights situation in Tibet and a need of immediate action plans by the exiled government and the people in exile. The deliberations acknowledged the growing Chinese propaganda as a strategy to change the global narrative towards China and its occupied nations, as well as the rising systematic surveillance apparatus within the occupied Tibet and internationally in the form of transnational repression, which has become another point of focus. Subsequently, according to Clause 41, Article 41, Clause 1 of the Rules and Regulation of Parliamentary Procedure and Conduct of the Business of Tibetan Parliament in Exile, Kasha introduced Kasha's official explanation, that's Kasha ki shunde ki seshe. So Article 41, Clause 1 of the Rules and Procedure mentions that when the administration adopts a new political policy, considering an adoption of a policy or on policy implementation, or if a member of the parliament demands an explanation on an important recent event, Kasha has to propose such a motion of Kasha's official explanation, Kasha Gishunde Seshe. So today's official Kasha clarification basically covered legal status of CTA and its various autonomous bodies like Nyamte in India, legal questions in terms of the registered departments and various sections, as well as land ownership under CTA. So after deliberation by members of the House, especially by the senior members of the House, the official bill and resolution to the statement of Kasha was passed with majority. Then for the next session, a motion to constitute an ad hoc committee to the review that proposed amendments to the rules and regulations for the parliamentary procedures and conduct of business concerning the removal of dignitaries of the CTA was tabled by Parliamentary Standing Committee, which was passed unanimously. So I mentioned about that yesterday. So if you recall, we should be able to connect it. Then the Secretary General Snamdojila of the Tibetan Parliamentary Secretariat read out the leave of absence of the parliament members as the final list of business before the concluding remarks, concluding speech of the Honorable Speaker. So Honorable Speaker, in his concluding speech, gave a gist of the entire business that was covered during the 8th session. The obituary references, the presentation and deliberation on reports of the departments and its various jurisdiction under CTA for 2024 and 2025, for 2023 and 2024, sorry. Then the solidarity resolution, then some very significant legislative amendments procedures, especially in regards to the Supreme Justice Commission, motion of gratitude, and of course the election of the Chief Election Commissioner and a member of the Public Service Commission. Then current Kasha's third official clarification apart from forthcoming parliamentary businesses and projects. Honorable Speaker highlighted on the upcoming Tibet advocacy programs by the Tibetan Parliament in Europe and elsewhere this fiscal year in cooperation with the administration and offices of Tibet. Similarly, our projects in Delhi in December with our strategy meeting and Tibet Advocacy Lobby during the Winter Parliament of India, Winter Parliament session of India. So he expressed his strong objection against China's growing repressive policy, which is extending beyond occupied borders. Honorable Speaker also emphasized on the plans and hopes of the speakers in accordance with the Charter of the Tibetans in Exile to endeavor to achieve the common goal of Tibet in terms of restoring freedom inside Tibet. while promoting the welfare of Tibetans in exile. So yeah, and with that, the 8th session of the 17th Tibetan Parliament in exile adjourned Senadaya at 6:30 p.m. So this was it for the 8th session of the 17th Tibetan Parliament in exile. I believe that everything in a way concluded very positively, because we were able to, as I mentioned, able to see a passage of the legislative procedure, especially in regards to the Tibetan Supreme Justice Commission. So that was very important. Apart from that, we were able to see many important changes within the parliament. And yeah, all I can say is if you're able to watch the Tibetan Parliament 8th session, it'll be fantastic. If not, at least do watch the last session, because I'm sure you'll be able to learn a lot from various deliberation that has occurred today. So yeah, this is pretty much it. All I want to say is thank you for your support. Thank you for your patience in waiting for my daily Trezor briefing. I hope that it does help some of you. I don't intend to claim that I'm able to give every information that I should, but considering the fact that I can only space out about 10-11 minutes, not more than that, this is all the information I can give, squeezing in the entire session of the day. So yeah, thank you for your attention to the Tibetan Parliament. Thank you for your involvement in Tibetan democracy. It's crucial that the youth of Tibet in exile is incoherent with the Tibetan democracy apart from the Tibetan freedom movement. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. I just want to say be proud of who we are as Tibetans, and continue to fight our good fights. Let's say I'll see you all very soon for the 9th session of the Tibetan Parliament in Exile's 17th Parliament. Let's say just let